Van D, a dynamic leader with decades of experience building companies and crushing sales. He's been there and done that.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Van D.
Inspiring audiences across the country to do it too. Here's Van.
Well, welcome everybody to the Van D podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. So today we're going to talk about something that you probably won't be seeing a lot in podcasts. You won't see in motivational material or books about it, but it's something I really believe in. So I have a question for all of you. Why is having a chip on your shoulder a good thing in business? That's what we're going to talk about today. So I believe you need a chip on your shoulder to maximize self-discipline and consistency. Without an intrinsic purpose, attention to detail wavers and eventually ceases. The reason why we give up so quickly is because we do not have a strong enough purpose to stay the course, especially when complications arise. So, when I researched exactly where did that come from? Where did it come from when people say, well, he has a chip on his shoulder? Well, the phrase a chip on one's shoulder is reported as originating in the 19th century. It was a practice of spoiling for a fight by carrying a chip of wood on one's shoulder and daring the others to knock it off. So that's where it originated. When someone says you have a chip on your shoulder, it's because back in the 19th century, somebody would carry a piece of wood on their shoulder and the other people were supposed to knock it off. So let's think about this. Isn't that what a lot of today's business is? Isn't that what competitors are trying to do? You're running a great business and other people are trying to knock you down or they're trying to make it where you don't do well. So I say that having a chip on your shoulder is a good thing. And one of the reasons why I feel that way is a lot of you know my background is I started out on straight commission when I was 23 years old. So ladies and gentlemen, I basically had to have a chip. I had to have an attitude because if I didn't have an attitude or a chip on my shoulder that I couldn't make it, I'm not going to eat. So I have to have that attitude that I'm confident. So when I started my real estate company, one of the reasons why I had a chip on my shoulder, now this is after 10 years being in real estate, I decided to open up my own firm back in 1993. But I can't tell you how many people, and they weren't, trying to be maliciously mean but they would make comments. Some of my competitors would say, there's not room for another real estate company in our city. Why don't you come be a manager with us? Or they would discourage me. You're never going to make it. Well, to me, that created a chip on my shoulder because it motivated me. And just having other people doubt me motivated me. I believe entrepreneurs, and this is my belief, I believe that we live not only to prove people wrong, but I really believe that we live to prove ourselves right. We believe we can do something. We believe that we can accomplish anything. I don't care what your age is, what your skill set is, what your business background is. If you believe that you can do something, you can accomplish it. So my chip wasn't to prove them wrong as much as it was to prove me right. And the other thing is I think that entrepreneurs have to have a chip on their shoulder or else they would be employees. I mean, think about it. Being an employee with a company, you don't really have to have a chip. You've got your job description. You're going to go do well, hopefully. You're going to get paid regularly. You're going to get your benefits, and so on and so on. With an entrepreneur, a business owner, you have to have an attitude that failure is not an option. You don't have a choice. And ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are not business owners or that aren't business owners yet or entrepreneurs, you probably don't fully understand that, but when you know that your income is completely going to bear fruit from your efforts, it's a different story. So you have to have this attitude that I am going to be successful. So just a couple things that I believe in about having a chip on your shoulder that will benefit you is, one, it's going to hold you accountable. If you really truly believe that you're a confident person and that you have the ability to be successful, I believe having that chip on your shoulder is going to hold you accountable. I also believe that having that attitude is going to keep you focused. I think that's one thing where people really give up. You know, there's a fact out there that is just way too high percentage of people that start their own business. It's like 87% of people that start their own business end up getting out of it within 24 months. And to me, that's just too high of a number. If they had more of an attitude, if they had more of a chip on their shoulder, and if they were more focused, I think that would help them. So many people are close to the finish line and they never knew it. So many people were just a couple days away or a couple deals away or a sale away, and they threw in the towel. And I think if you have that attitude, that failure is not an option, it's going to keep you focused. I look at having a chip and attitude at the same thing of having a great attitude. It will help you build your self-confidence. It will continually help you build your self-confidence by having a chip on your shoulder. So let me just tell you what I mean by that. So when I first got, my background's real estate. My love is real estate. I'm still doing real estate today. It's my favorite thing. I can't wait to go do real estate deals. When I get up in the morning, I get excited about doing real estate as well as motivational speaking. But let me just give you an example. So when I would go on a listing appointment, I can't go on a listing appointment without having a chip on my shoulder and being confident. Now, I'm not saying cocky. I'm saying being confident. So when I go in and I'm in somebody's living room and somebody says, or the sellers are sitting there with me. We're having a discussion about the people. They're interviewing people to list their house, and of course, this is when I'm on stage. I mean, I've got to be the very best I possibly can when I'm in their living room, and I've got to be confident because most sellers that are going to sell their property are going to be interviewing maybe 3 people, and if I don't have an attitude that I'm their best possible choice, why would they pick me? So one of my ratios from getting the people to list with me was off the charts. I didn't bat 1,000, but man alive, I was awfully close. But I would not be afraid to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know you're interviewing 3 real estate companies to sell your house for you. And I want you to know that they're all great. And there's a lot of great real estate agents, real estate people, and professionals in our city, but none of them can compete with what I can do for you. Not one of the people in this city can compete with what I can do for you to help you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, get the price you want, make it an easy transaction. So basically what I'm saying is, if I don't believe that I'm that person, why would people do business with me? And I really relate that to having a chip on your shoulder. I believe that it's just like the origination of how a chip on the shoulder was brought about is guy had a piece of wood on his shoulder. The other people tried to knock it off. What's the difference in what we do in business every day? You don't think that the customers that you have today have a choice? I don't care what business you're in. Everybody has a choice. They don't have to do business with you. I've got to let people know I'm the person. And if I don't do that, then no one else will. I guarantee you that when I'm done and I leave that living room and they go interview another real estate agent, that person's not going to say, oh, I see you had Van Dieb come in. He's better than me. No one's going to say that. It's up to you. So when we look at the definition of chip on your shoulder, you've got to have that feeling and that attitude and that confidence. I'm the best person for the job. That to me is what having a chip on your shoulder means. Is you want people to know that you're the best at what you do. So all of this together, one of the things that I really want in my lifetime and in my career, my competitors may be able to compete with me on certain things. They can't compete with me on everything. And one thing they can't compete with me on is how I treat my customers. And what has helped me become better at customer service and making sure that the customer's experience is the best of the best of the best is I know that I have the ability to be that person. And if you know you have the ability, you have the responsibility. That, my friends, is a chip on my shoulder. I know in my heart that there's nobody out there that is going to treat my customers better than I will. And is it cocky? Absolutely. Is it confident? Beyond confident. But it's also a sign of me holding this chip that's on my shoulder saying, I'm the best at customer service. You're going to have to be better than me to knock it off my shoulder. And I really, really believe that. And I feel like if we look at our job descriptions, all of you for a second, right now, those of you listening, for just 1 second, think about what you do for a living and how you can be better at it. And your attitude can own that space. That you don't want anybody in your industry to compete with you. What is that one area that you're not going to let your competition compete with you at? There's got to be something that you do in your industry that you can shine. I don't care what type of business you're in. You can find one area that you can shine, that you can stand alone and have that piece of wood on your shoulder that nobody can knock off. And nobody ever will knock off. So I ask you, what does that mean to you when somebody says, well, he has a chip on his shoulder? We've always heard that maybe in a bad way, where it's not a good thing to say about somebody. I'm here to tell you today that I believe having a chip on your shoulder is a good thing in business. Because it's confidence. It's, I'm really, really, really good at this and no one's going to take me off my throne. You don't think that business leaders out there, kings and queens and emperors and people that are number one in their industry, you don't think they all have a chip on their shoulder? I guarantee you they do. They don't want anybody knocking them off. They don't want anybody to be as good as they are. So think about it. What can you do to stand out in your industry that people want to be like? That people see you and they say, wow, this guy is an expert at this. This person is the best at this. This person is the best at that. We all have something inside of us that we can use as motivation to help us be the best we can possibly be at everything. It's self-discipline, it's consistency, and it's believing in yourself that you have this ability. Remember, when people have a chip on their shoulder, they admit that they do, like I do, I can't fail. I don't want to ever fail. It's not an option. Ever, ever, ever. if I set out to do something, I have the mindset that my chip is I can't fail. So ask yourself, what is your chip? Is your chip that you can't fail either? No one's going to take that chip off your shoulder. I don't want anybody to compete with me. And here's the thing with my chips. I don't want to have anybody compete with me when I'm working with people that want to buy or sell real estate. I don't want to have anybody compete with me when I go in and I am an outside voice for companies to help them increase their market share, their profitability, or to help managers become better at what they do from an outside voice like me. Those are my chips. I don't want anybody to be better than me. Are there people? Sure. Probably thousands of people better at me at what I do for a living. But in my mind, it's mine and I own it, and that chip is on my shoulder, and it's never coming off. So that's how I look at it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's a little unique to talk about having a chip on your shoulder, but take this information, make it work for you, create that chip, become the best at something, one thing that you're better than your competition at. I know you can do it. We all have that ability. And like I say, if we have the ability, we have the responsibility. Thank you again for tuning into this podcast. I'm grateful that you're here. Please, please, please subscribe, rate, and review. And if there's anything at all you think I can help you become better at, my email is van@vandeeb.com, or you can call 402-680-8448. I respond. I usually respond immediately, but I want to help you. I want to help you become the best you can possibly be. Thanks for tuning in today.
A Parkville Media Production.